Okay, so Mary the Paralegal. This is just essentially set up to a joke at the end. I've watched this one quite a few times because the joke is kind of a pretty good setup. Basically, they set up that Robin was nominated for a local area media award, LAMA. So Ted's looking. It's only a few hours before the event. He hasn't really decided if he wants to go or he should go or not. Last minute, he gets a date set up by Barney, who tells him that she's a prostitute, even though it's not revealed until later. But she's not. She's just a paralegal, and she's really quite attractive. But we're still dealing with the fallout of the last episode, and that Robin's still pissed at Ted. And I would have preferred it if like they had dealt with that a little bit better, because I don't. Well, I said in the last episode, Ted was so wrong. But if he had just come clean and said, "Hey, she was supposed to call me 4 hours ago. She hasn't called me," and what had happened anyway. Because I don't think anything that would have changed had what would have happened that night. But so that's kind of irritating. This introduces us to Sandy Rivers, who will be around for a while. There's, I think, a bit of an inside joke where the guy that plays Sandy, he was on Buffy and ended up marrying the chick that plays Lily, and he looks at her and says, "I can't picture you angry." And she goes, "I can't picture you angry." So, yeah, so I think that's kind of an inside joke that they're married or they're engaged or something by this time. I can't remember whether they were married or just engaged or were dating or whatever. Anyway, yeah. So I think that's kind of an inside joke by the writers that hey, these two are married in real life, and that's why he can't. He's trying to be nice to her. Not a great. And again, I hate to say this, but with a lot of these episodes, but not much story progression has taken place, and with the amount of time that's passed, something should have happened. Like, I understand for about a week, maybe 2 weeks, Robin not taking Ted's calls, but I think this is supposed to be like a month afterwards, so yeah, I think by now she would be kind of, like, if they're friends like they said, I think he would have forgiven her she would have forgiven him by now, and they would have at least been able to talk. But yeah, this is still, it's that sitcom-y world where things take a little bit longer than what they actually would in real life. See, yeah, like he kind of knew that the relationship with Victoria was over, and they were just trying this long distance thing because they didn't want to break up. They did still like each other. They did see a future in the relationship, and unfortunately, yeah, they never fully went there with it. But hey, this is not great, but I would say watch it for the joke. It's kind of a stand not really. What's good about this series too is it's not entirely the last 3 episodes aren't really standalones. They interconnect, but this last one is kind of like, well, we don't want to progress the story too much further. We're holding in this pattern, which is annoying. Like, I guess this gets into my thing about how shows should be now. They should be more like every episode connects to the last one, because there's a lot more of that marathon watching, binge watching, which is kind of what I'm doing now. But we're gonna leave it there, and we're gonna do something interesting here. We're going to go to Best Prom Ever. I don't remember a lot about this one, but I remember certain things about it, liking it. Marry the Paralegal. Sorry, got to give it a solid C. It's passable. It's just not great. It's just a lot of setup to one joke, and the joke's not that great, but funny the first time you watch it. But after a while, you just kind of run through the motions with it. See ya.